friends, welcome. It's Miss Kate here, and welcome to Art Day with Miss Kate. I'm glad you're here. We're going to keep talking about mental health. We mentioned in the last time we were together that mental health has to do with the strength and well-being of our mind, just like physical health was about the strength and well-being of our body. So today I thought what we could do is talk a little bit about some interesting facts that go on in our mind during the day and a thing called journaling and affirmations. So before we get started, make sure you check below for the materials you need, as well as a couple great links and resources for more fun stuff to do. So here we go. One thing that's kind of interesting is over the course of the years with this new thing called technology, our minds are getting inundated, flooded with information. In the average day, our brain takes in 34 gigabytes of information. In 1 week, that would overload your computer. Imagine how that affects your brain. Some of this stuff we don't even pay attention to. Like me talking to you right now, you're hearing me, but your brain is also noticing that there's a noise over there in that corner, and it's also noticing the colors around the TV screen. You just aren't quite aware of it because your focus right now is on me. But all that information is still getting sent in. That's a lot for a little brain up there to handle, especially if it's not always feeling great. So what we're going to talk about is something that can kind of help it. Another really interesting fact too is in the course of an hour, we have 3,500 thoughts. Yeah, our thoughts. Can you believe that? That means in the course of a minute, you've probably had about 50 thoughts. Yeah, doesn't even seem possible. But your brain is constantly going. To help that a bit, we can journal or we can write. We can take some of that noise that might be going on or the worry or even having a lot to do and write it down. You might write a list. You could do something where you just freely get your thoughts out of your head. Today was a good day. I went for a walk. I ate outside. I played with my cat Spencer. You could write something that it's a little more meaningful. Maybe you want to write some gratitudes. I'm grateful today for being able to have fresh air. I'm grateful for a nice place to live or a safe house. I'm grateful for a cozy bed and a comfy pillow. Those are other ways to kind of get your brain to kind of calm down and tell it, look, you don't need to worry about the 34 gigabytes that are coming in right now. Let's just focus right here and right now. We're going to be calm and comforting and peaceful, and all that other chitter chatter can just go away. So it kind of takes you in the moment and it gives your brain a little vacation, since it really never gets to have one. Even when you're sleeping, it's working. So those are a couple ways that we can help our mind and our mental health stay strong. If our brain is always working, like let's say you had a car and you kept driving it and 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 driving it, and you get the point, kept driving, and you never stopped for gas, what's going to happen? It'll stop working, right? You'll end up just kind of stuck on the road. Well, our brains can do that too. We might keep going and not give them enough attention, enough time to rest. And they'll just be like, ugh, another day. So let's use these tools, such as journaling or writing, to give it a little space, a little time to breathe, a little time to say, brain, you can take the night off. I got this for a few minutes. Okay? So I thought what we would do is we're going to create a message in a bottle. We are going to draw on a sheet of paper a bottle that would be floating in the ocean. And inside of it, we're going to put a special message. And it's going to be a message, well, I'll tell you when we get there. I got to save a little excitement for that. So I would like you to gather a piece of paper, actually a large sheet of paper, and then a piece of scrap paper or a second sheet of paper, a little bit of glue, a glue stick is fine, or the wet glue. And if you have a string, such as a ribbon from like wrapping paper or a piece of yarn or some kind of string, we'll need that today too. I'm going to get my table set up, and I will catch you in 2 snaps of a finger click. Here we go, friends. So this is what we are going to be making. We're going to put a bottle with a message in it floating through the water. I'm going to show you a few fun techniques to create some different kind of water scenes as well as the sky. Forgot to mention to grab some cotton balls or cotton pads, so if you have some, you can grab those later. And let me show you how this works before we get going. We're going to use this is just some ribbon from the holidays. I'm going to open it, and in our message, which I told you was a surprise, we're not going to just write any old message. We're going to write a message to ourselves. And it's going to be a message that is an empowering message. Anything you want. I'll show you what I wrote for myself. I said, to you, you are awesome. You are loved. I am so grateful for you. These are called affirmations. They make us feel good inside. They affirm that we're here, that we're a person, that we're a part of the world. So we'll come up with a few other ideas that you can fill into here. If you're going to give this to someone else, you can write something very similar, and it'll still work. So let me move this out of the way. Grab your large art paper. I know I said get a piece of scrap paper as well. So we're going to work with the art paper first. And what we'll draw first in the portrait position, you could put yours landscape if you'd prefer. I'm going to do mine portrait so I can get a bigger bottle. We're going to draw the bottle first, and it can really be any sort of shape. It can be a little bit longer, it can be wider, whatever you kind of think, but you can follow along with me. I'm going to start with the neck of the bottle, kind of like that long skinny part that you might see. And I'm going to kind of curve it out and down. And I'll do it on this side too. Curve it out and down. Now you might say, well, Miss Kate, mine's a little crooked, or it's okay. It's art. We're just doing this to enjoy, to have fun. It can be a little off. I noticed mine got too close to the edge. That's all right. I'm not even going to worry about it because I'm enjoying. Now let's make it look like it's in the water. So we can put some connected letter U's to kind of look like ocean waves, sort of bobbing along. If you have a different way to do this, by all means, do that. Some people might make an ocean wave more like this. That works too. I'll put a few in mine. Anything that might give it a sense of ocean. The next thing we need to make sure we do is separate the ocean from the sky, because we want to make sure we know that this is on top of the water, not floating underneath it. So that line that goes across, do you know what it's called that separates the sky and the ground, the sky and the ocean? Yeah, it's a horizon line. It's a straight line that goes from the left side of the paper to the right side. It's horizontal. Now I know I can put a few more little ocean things here. And let's put a cork or a stopper at the top because we don't want our paper to fall out. We also don't want water to splash in, especially if it's some rocky seas. So I'm going to draw a curved line to kind of close off the bottle. And you have some options. You can put a cork, which is kind of that brownish thing that you might see in the top of like a oil carafe. You could put a screw top. You could just make a little flat, up to you. And that's pretty much our artwork. That's really all the drawing we had to do. If you want, you can draw in some clouds. Like I said, if you happen to have cotton balls or cotton pads, you can place them instead. You can draw a sun if you'd like to. But we're going to go ahead and close our marker. And let's go ahead and jazz this up now with some color. I said I'd show you a couple techniques. So one thing you can do is if you have washable, they have to be washable. They can't be scented washable. Plain old washable markers. You can do a kind of cool technique that takes the washable marker and turns it into watercolors. So I'm gonna put mine wherever I have the black lines. And then show you how this works. If you don't have markers and you just have crayons right now or colored pencils, go ahead and start coloring in your ocean. If you want to see how this works now, I've got my recycle bucket with my water, plain old water from the sink, and I'm going to just rub it, and it turns the washable marker into watercolor pretty much. So if you happen to want to be doing a watercolor project but you don't have regular watercolor paints, you can do this with washable markers. Okay, so I'll quickly fill this in. After you're done with that, you can work up on your sky. You might want to determine, is it nighttime? You could put a cloud in your, or a moon in your sky with some stars and make it a dark night. You could make it daytime and bright and sunny and make it a very light blue sky. You can make it like a sunset or a sunrise. It would have more of like an orange red color to it. That's totally up to you. Whatever brings you the most like excitement to add to your artwork. I think Miss Kate put a little too much water on her paper there. Okay, so that's that technique. As far as the sky, like I said, you can do what you would like for that. I'm not going to color right now. I'm going to show you how to add in our message. So let me move this out just a bit because it's wet. And go ahead and stop working on that just so you can see how this works now. So I've got just some copy paper. I couldn't find any little scraps. So this will now be a big scrap turned into smaller scraps. I am going to take it the portrait way and just tear all the way down. Just like that. Simple piece of cake. This piece I'm going to move out of the way. This piece I'm going to write a message on. So actually I'm going to tear the bottom just a little so it looks ragged on both ends. I like that. So I'm going to put to you. And again, I recommended writing this to yourself. What is a message that you need to hear that makes you feel good? Maybe someone tells it to you. Maybe it's something you say to yourself is, I'm proud of you. Well, that's a good one. So I'm going to write to you. I am proud of you. You are, what else can we add? You are awesome. Watch, I might start singing that song. And one of my favorite ones is, I love you. There's some power in those three little words. They doesn't have to be romantic, I love you. It's just that your heart recognizes somebody else's heart. And you can say, I love you. So, now that you've got your affirmations or your little message, what you'll do is roll it up. Do, 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 do. Just like that. Pretty simple, right? I'm gonna take mine and leave it right here for a second. Well, it unrolled. Pardon me. Here we go. So take your ribbon. I've got mine probably longer than it needs to be. I'm going to lay it right here and put some wet glue, if I can get the little thing open. So I've made like a little line with the wet glue. I'm gonna lay the ribbon on part of it. And then this part right over here, where the beginning started, I'm gonna lay on top. So ignore rolling what I said before. I kind of did it backwards. You're gonna let this dry, open, just like this. It might take a few minutes, maybe an hour or so, depending how much glue you used. Once it's done, you'll be able to, let me go back to my other one. Roll this up. Might have to ask a grown-up or someone nearby, or just anybody, especially if you are a grown-up, someone nearby, to hold this so it doesn't keep unrolling. And then you're just going to tie a bow, like the first part of like tying your shoelace, crisscross. Make a little bunny ear, wrap it around, and voila. And you've created your message in a bottle. You can add any other details and stuff you might want to for this. Like I said, the cotton ball clouds. You can have a few other bottles floating in the water. You can gift this to somebody. Totally up to you. So I'm going to leave this up so you can see it and you can take a few minutes to finish. And I'll flip this around to give you a send-off. All right, friends, that was awesome. Really fun project. And we also got to talk about our brains and how much information goes in there and how it can kind of interact with how we're feeling of like overwhelm and uncomfortableness and ways to feel good again. So I want you to take the time you need to finish up, add any extra details, think about what you really want to put in that message. Give it to someone, keep it for yourself. It's up to you. Make sure you get some fresh air. Remember, we did say how fresh air does help both physical health and mental health. Be kind, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Bye.